Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
Welcome to Wild Child Records. I'm your host, Jay Stoyan. We're down here, Toronto, Canada, Christie Street, Christie and Bloor, Witchwood Barns, Artscape. Come on down. We're fully accessible. We have a dog park. We have a splash pad. We have farmers market. It's a great location. Again, Christie and Bloor, downtown Toronto. We're very excited. Before we start the show, I do want to give a big shout out to our sponsor, Long and McQuaid. These guys are amazing. They have supported our channel since day one. They provide beautiful instruments for our silent auction. They always tweet us. They always support us. I want to thank the guys. I want to thank Tim and Sherry. Wonderful people. We have so much going on in the music world. Today we're on the show. We're going to have from the Legacy in Motion tour and big records, Rise Up TV. We're going to have Sarah Smith on the show. Now, she was part of the tour, so stay tuned. And remember to comment on our Facebook page because we always comment back. Again, you're watching Wild Child Records. I'm Jay Stoyan. We'll be right back with musician Sarah Smith. Welcome back to Wild Child Records. As you can see, we have a full active studio. We got our editors working behind us. I love the live action. So again, I want to welcome to the show. I want to welcome musician Sarah Smith to the show. Welcome, Sarah.
Hey, thanks for having me.
This is great. We're really happy that you're on the show. I know we've connected a few times over the last month regarding your tour and your career. So before we get into the tour, why don't you tell our viewers all about Sarah Smith music, and then we can just sort of leap into your role at the tour.
Phone.
There you go. Live. There you go. And it was my phone, so I can't blame anybody. I turned it down.
You know what, man? I've been doing music full time for 25 years. It's been my career since out of high school. I joined the military, and then I quit the military to pursue my music passion. And I never thought that. Yeah, I never ever thought that I would ever be able to survive as a musician. I always thought, there's no way I could do it, but I kind of hit the ground running, and I booked tons of shows in the very beginning, and I just never stopped playing shows.
Wow. So tell our viewers exactly what type of musician you are. What do you play? Do you songwrite? So tell our viewers exactly.
I think that I'm mainly a songwriter, and I love performing as well. So I play music that comes from my heart. I play guitar and I sing. Sometimes I rock the F out with a guitar, and sometimes I just play ballads. So I'm kind of an emo / rock artist.
So what do you think as a songwriter and a musician, which one do you really gravitate more, and which one do you find more difficult?
You mean like as far as songwriting versus performing?
Yeah.
I love performing. I just get very nervous when I perform. I do really care about, how my performance comes across, and I care about making sure my message is heard. So I do get very nervous. So that does become a hard part of the job. But songwriting, I don't get nervous. I just feel this like beautiful creative energy flowing through me, and it's a beautiful place to be. Songwriting is just probably my heart.
Do you get your inspiration from personal experiences or from stuff that you research? Like, where do you come up with your song ideas? I always love to ask songwriters that kind of stuff.
Yeah, most of my songs always came from my personal experiences, mostly heartache and love and all the things that make you feel. But as time goes on and you write so much about what comes out of my heart, I started writing about other people and what they're experiencing, and people would share their stories with me, and I would start to help them develop songs from their own feelings. So I was able to walk in their shoes for some time and write songs for them.
It must be quite the transition from the military to a musician. So, can you tell us a little bit about your military background and how that turned into today's day with being a musician?
I mean, it was 25 years ago, so it wasn't really anything that defines me now. But out of high school, I really wanted to do something prestigious, and I really wanted to be a soldier. Demi Moore and GI Jane, that really inspired me. So
Yeah,
I went to Royal Military College in Canada. It's kind of like West Point in the States, and I went there for 1 year. And during that year, I was in infantry. I did my basic training. I was going to be a, ground soldier, and I was really hoo-ah. I was like push-ups and running all the
that's
time,
great.
and yeah, out of the military, my officer told me, you could continue on this path if you want, but I really think you should do music. And he was the first person that ever told me that music was an option.
And how did the music element come up as you were serving?
I brought my guitar with me. I was one of the only people that had my guitar, and it took a bit of courage to bring my guitar because every day I had to lay it on my bed for inspection, the same way I would lay my underwear and my
Really?
uniforms. Everything that was inspected, my guitar was one of them as well. So I had an extra step beyond everybody else. I had to clean my guitar, take the strings off. Do I had to treat it like my rifle. So, you know, that was one extra step, and I think that they saw my passion for music.
I really like that you're sharing because I've come across a lot of military people. They really gravitate to music to sort of, it's a well-being thing, like it's a Zen thing. I know so many musicians that we deal with, they all pick up the guitar and they say, Jay, without music, oh my goodness, like it's so I'm sure you can share the same feelings a little bit.
Yeah, the music was the thing that sort of made me feel like in touch with spirit rather than just my physical body because there was a lot of aches and pains and no sleep and a lot of, being bossed around and yelled at and put in my place and disciplined. And music was the thing that gave me freedom and spirit.
That's great. Now tell our viewers actually where we're speaking from. So can I know a lot of can I talk to people from mostly Canada, but a lot of people in the US. So tell our viewers actually where you're calling in from.
I'm calling from an island in the southern Gulf Islands of British Columbia. It's called Pender Island, and that's my home right now. I've moved here from London, Ontario, 3 years ago during the pandemic. So I still consider Ontario such a huge part of my life and my heart, although I do enjoy the nature and the beauty here on Pender.
There's a lot of you guys out there. Like Mark's there, Tim's there, Tara's there. Like a lot of people are out in BC. And just to let you know that the channel, because we're going to be part of the Invictus Games, which is like the Olympics for veterans out in BC in February 225. So the channel's going to be out there doing production and media. So maybe we'll meet. That would be wonderful.
Oh my God, that'd be amazing. I would love to be a part of
Yeah.
that and to, see some soldiers in action and see what they can do. Like that was the one thing that really inspired me was how much, discipline they have to continue doing what they do and how, you know, their physical bodies are so strong. And I just, I really look up to people that can put so much time and effort into doing what they do.
I think that's great. Now, how long were you actually in service for? Like, how long were you part of it?
I only went through 1 year of university, so
That's
that was
great.
it.
No,
After the first year, they give you an option. It's a free option to quit without any punishment or paying back. So I was granted a honorable discharge, and everything was great. And I joined the
well,
band a week later.
your second path, right? Your second career. So let's get back to your music a little bit. So, would you frame yourself as a solo musician? Or are you part of the band, or how would you frame yourself?
I'm a solo musician that has a band. I
That has
prefer to play with a band. I prefer to bounce music off other musicians. Although performing solo also has its magic. Performing solo, I'm so free. I'm not bound to any arrangements or any songs. I can just go off and do my own thing. And I think that there's magic in both the band because it rocks and as a solo artist because I can really just dig deep and be, show people exactly who I am as an artist.
That's great. We're going to take a quick break, but before we do, I want to let everybody know that our Facebook page is blowing up. People are commenting on our interview, so thank you so much for everybody commenting on our interview. I'm sure Sarah and we'll answer as soon as we can. Stay tuned because when we come back, we're going to talk about the Legacy in Motion tour, and we're also going to talk about Rise Up TV and your connection to Big Records and Mark. So stay tuned. You're watching Wild Child Records. I'm Jay Stone. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the show. On the show today, we have Sarah Smith from Sarah Smith Music. Now, she was part of the Legacy in Motion tour with Big Records and Tim and Ronnie and the whole crew. So it was really exciting. We had on Jimmy, the bus driver, a couple weeks ago. So this was exciting. So tell us your role in Legacy Motion tour, and then you're going to tell us some of your memorable moments too.
Yeah, so the tour was amazing. It was just like, you know, I didn't know what to expect. I've never toured in a bus before, so it was pretty rad to be in a bus full of a lot of dudes. And a lot of these guys were from like North Carolina, so they had the drawl, the southern drawl, and they're a lot there's a lot of stereotypes that come with that, the gun toting,
Yeah.
like meat eating, gentlemen, right? And these guys were absolutely respectful, loving people. We talked a lot about the difference between my beliefs because I'm pretty open-minded, liberal. We don't have guns in our home, and we're actually vegan in our household. So we had a lot of opposites, but we were able to really enjoy, connecting on a human level and on a
Now,
music level.
were you the only lady on the tour now, like as far as musician wise goes?
I think so. I mean, Bruce Coughlin's kind of like just joking. Bruce is my friend. I love him so much. I think that yeah, I was the only lady, but Ronnie's wife was on the tour,
That's
which was
good.
awesome. Yeah, she was just a fantastic person to have on tour. So
So how did you get now from BC down to Nashville? Did you like did the bus pick you up? Take us through that scenario.
yeah, so I actually flew. I was in Toronto and I flew from Toronto to Nashville. And Jimmy and Eric, the videographer, they picked me up. I was the first one to join the tour.
Okay.
And I slept on the bus, slept like a baby. And then I woke up, I'm like, how do I clean my body? Because I really needed to clean my body. And they said, okay, truck stop showers it is. So this was my first experience in a truck stop shower as well. And let me tell you, they're pretty awesome. They're clean. It's expensive though. It's like $20 to shower.
Is it really?
Yeah. But you have your own bathroom in there and it's a shower. They give you towels. So if you're ever stuck, if you don't want to go to a hotel, $20 is pretty cheap to have a shower.
And what was
Amazing.
the so what was the bus equipped with? Just basically beds and your equipment and what kind of yeah, tell us that.
There was 12 bunk beds
There you go.
in the bus, and at one point, all those beds were being used, and there was like a whole lounge area with TV. We didn't really turn the TV on till the end. We had lots to talk about
Lots to do,
for
eh?
for our tour. And at the very back of the bus, there's another lounge area where usually like people like the head of the tour might hang out or sleep, but we just used it as our closet. We
That's
put all our
great.
bags in there, and we changed and got put our every makeup on and stuff like that. It was
It
actually
must have been
interesting.
quite the experience, right? Like that's pretty big. Like do a tour. Now you guys did, I think, 4, 5, 6 gigs. I think it was five maybe or something like that. Five
Yep, we
shows.
yep, that was right. I think in the end we did 5 shows altogether. So there was Nashville, and there was Chattanooga, and then we were supposed to go to Duluth, Georgia, but that show actually we weren't able to do. Instead, we got to play a veterans
Yeah,
a veterans what is it? A community center sort of for veterans, and that was in Chattanooga. And then we got 2 other shows, one, in North Carolina, and the other one was, also in North Carolina, I think. Man, you're asking me questions from, like, 2 weeks ago. This is tough.
I really like how Mark was mentioning how all the musicians took part in every show, right? So you guys all shared the stage. It wasn't like one person this week or this gig, and it was all you guys sharing the stage. So That was really nice. Now, and most, I think all the musicians, or pretty much they all do, you guys all do originals, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct?
Yep, yep.
Yeah.
We all do original music. And I also forgot that Carolyn was also on the tour, and that's Stephen K's wife. It's always
Okay.
nice to have a couple women that I can sort of, hang out with,
Sure.
and like
Oh
they're
yeah.
like men and women, we're all the same. We're all sensitive. We're all good people. We're all beautiful people. But there's just like a thing when dudes get together and they hang out, that's cool. And when women get together and hang out, that's cool too. It's just we can relate on that, right?
That's great. Why don't we take another quick break? Because I want to talk about Rise Up TV and your connection to big records, if that's okay. Like how you guys met and how you guys collaborate together. So stay tuned. We're talking to Sarah Smith from Sarah Smith Music. You're watching Wild Child Records. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the show. On the show today, we have musician Sarah Smith. She's telling us all about her tour, the Legacy in Motion tour, her connection to Rise Up TV and big records. And I have a few other questions for her. But tell us, Sarah, and tell our viewers. And by the way, our Facebook page is blowing up, so this is great. Tell us how you met Mark and your role in Rise Up TV and big records.
I can't remember how I met Mark or why I met Mark, but I've been involved in Rise Up TV since its induction, really. I think I was one of the first original artists to be a part of it. And we did a couple Canada tours, and I think we did a couple Ontario tours and some BC tours together. And I really believed in Mark's vision of, having a reality TV show where they follow you around, follow the artist around, and get a little taste of being on the road. Because I mean, being on the road is my life, and it's been great to be able to share that through Rise Up TV.
So you've done the van tour, have you?
I was the van tour. We were all the van tours. We were supposed to be on a bus tour a few times, but the bus didn't make it across the border.
Well, if you've never been on a van tour, then you're really not a true musician. Like you gotta do the van, you gotta load up the van, right, and take turns driving. This is great. Now tell us about what you have going on in the future, and if people want to reach out to you, you said you've been into music for a few years. Before we get to that, tell us how it's changed. How has it changed from when you started to today? I'm sure you have
I
lots of
think
thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, I think in the beginning, I was in a cover band with a few original songs, and we also played in the bar scene, and there was smoking still allowed in the bar scene, so it was like a raunchy bar scene, smoky sort of cover song band, and then we became more of an original band called the Joys, and then the Joys played for 10 years. We rock and rolled our way across North America, and we kind of poof, we kind of like woo, we
Yeah.
erupted, and my solo career took over. And once I started playing solo, I really was focusing a lot on songwriting and actually just becoming, for me, a better person. I went through a lot of crazy experiences as a musician on the road, and it really tested it tempted me all the time. I was being tempted by everything, and I went for it all. I wanted to experience life, and I dove into some of the things that don't make my soul happy. And so I was able to sort of work through those and recover from those. And, I continue to be a better person. And I think my music is also um, getting better as I get older.
Speaking about your music, give us some of your inspirations. Like, who are some of the people that you inspire to? Or this?
When I was younger, I never had an inspiration. We didn't really have a radio in our house. We only had an AM radio, and really, we didn't listen to music. My mom was a choir director in church, and church was a big part of my life. And I was just a church brat. Like every day of the week, we would be at church doing some choir thing or some play or whatever it might be. So I only knew music from church. That was all I knew. And then I started listening to like radio when I left home and I moved to
Yeah.
New Zealand. I was only 18 years old. I moved to New Zealand and
Wow.
I started listening to Alanis Morissette and um, Brian Adams and the Cars, and I started getting really into like these these like sort of pop songs that just made me feel something. Um, Yeah. So
That's
now,
well. I know the church is so integral for a lot of like all musicians, like from Whitney Houston's, like everybody. They all all grew up in the church, choir, and I think that's amazing. It's obviously it's very spiritual and it's good positivity, but you learn a new skill. Like you get over your fright too because you're in the choir, you're with other people singing, you're not by yourself. So many musicians say the church gave me my start, sort of thing.
mm, yeah.
Um, are you okay? I'm gonna ask you a preference now. Do you like male singers or female singers? What's your preference?
To me, the gender isn't really the anything. I've always found myself just liking songs. Um, and really, I'm really kind of attracted to like power ballads.
Power
I've
ballads?
always loved like Bryan Adams. To me, he was always my favorite. I know a lot of people don't like him, but to me, he writes perfect songs. They just
I
make me
would
feel
say
something and they're also passionate.
I'd say Brian is like so Canadian, like Mr. Canadian. If it wasn't maybe for Gordon, maybe it would have been. Well, it's like I say, it's Gordon and it's Anne Murray, right? And then everybody else sort of goes underneath there as far as the Canadian tradition and everybody, like Gordon Lightfoot. But Brian Adams, he's probably Canada's most well-known musician worldwide, I would say. Or he was anyways. He probably still is, but because he went global. He
Hmm.
went global. And I'm a Brian Adams fan. It's a little too soft for me, but I love his talent. Like great, Summer of '69 and all that great song. So this is great. So if people want to find out more about Sarah Smith music, Sarah, where could they go?
You can find me online everywhere. All my social medias are Sarah Smith Music, and my
Okay.
website is sarahsmithmusic.com. And you can find me there. Just Google Sarah Smith Music, and you'll find all my albums online, and you'll find all my social medias and blah 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 blah.
That's great. So we really appreciate you coming on the show today. If you have any updates, please do not hesitate. Let us know. We'll promote it for you. And if you join all of our social medias, we'll promote your music and share your links and everything, just the disability channel. So I really want to thank you for being on the show today.
Thank you for giving me this chance. I really appreciate you guys. Thank you so much.
And say hi to everybody at Big Records for me, please. They're great
All
guys and,
right.
and gals. So what we're going to do, we're going to take a quick break and I'm going to come back and wrap the show. You're watching Wild Child Records. On the show today, we had Sarah Smith from Sarah Smith Music. Stay tuned and we'll be right back. Welcome back to Wild Child Records. I'm just going to give a few updates. Again, it's the race to the Invictus Games, and people watch out for the song Shining Light. It's TDC's property. I wrote it. It's going to be big time. There's some good stuff coming on. So Shining Light. And remember, we're all about our employment programs for persons with disabilities and veterans, and we're able to showcase it on our multiple media platforms. So again, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. I want to thank our Facebook page. People, it's blowing up with the comments. So that's great. I want to thank Sarah Smith for being on the show today. Again, you're watching Wild Child Records. I'm Jay Stoyan. We'll see you next time.